you are not, nor have you ever been, nor will you continue to be stuck with the mental and emotional and behavioral programming that you currently have. That's true. You can actually change it. You can actually program yourself to think differently, to feel differently, and to behave differently automatically so that it's your default. Listen, every single one of us has what I call factory presets. We come into this world with a certain set of instincts. Everything else has been programmed into us, what to believe about ourselves, what to believe about other people, what to believe about the world around us. What we learn is from the outside. But listen, there's a way to reset and reprogram yourself, if you will, and restore your factory presets. And I'm going to tell you the number one most important factory preset to restore yourself with that's going to have what I call a global or a processional effect on any and everything that you do. It'll affect everything that you do. Don't believe me? Just watch. So I'll start here. And I call this Human Beings 101. And what that means is I'm going to give you kind of a really basic understanding of how we function as human beings and then how to use that information to get the very best out of ourselves. My background, I'm a neuropsychologist, and I help people get over fears and phobias and emotional challenges and things that hinder their lives. But I'm a neuropsychologist, and the difference is this. And this is not to cast aspersions on traditional therapy or anything like that. And this is not therapy that I'm doing with you here. This is just, I just want you to look at it as coaching and kind of a second opinion, if you will. Traditional therapy says, I have one way of communicating with you. I have one way of trying to effect change in you, and that is my voice to your ears. It's called auditory communication. But the truth of the matter is we all have 5 senses, don't we? And all 5 of those senses are input senses. And all of us have different order in which we use those input senses. And what that means is some people see things first, and they're called visual people. And they're visual people because they're like, I'm a visual person, by the way. We talk faster, we move faster, and I'll say things like, I see what you're saying. You can't really see what somebody's saying, but I say it because that's, the mode that I'm in. And then there's auditory people. Auditory people talk just a little bit slower and a more of a deep resonant voice and everything. They'll say things like, that sounds good to me. I understand how that is. That resonates with me. And those are auditory people. I'm telling you these things for a reason because you get to kind of choose which one you are mostly. And the third kind of person is what we call a kinesthetic person or a feeling person. And they generally talk much slower. And they breathe and they say, that feels good to me. I have a good sense of that. And they move much slower. And that kind of person, that's the mode that they are generally in. That's generally their default. Now, we all are all 3 of them because there's times that you get very visual when you get excited about something. And there's times that you get auditory and there's times you get kinesthetic and all of them. But the one that we mostly operate in is what we call our general operating mode. Now, so having said that, think about it. Which one are you mostly? Which kind of person do you think you are? And by the way, it is absolutely true. We all are most, and we learn different ways. I'm a visual person, but I learn auditorily. Meaning that if I want to learn something, if I want to read something and remember it, if I just read it visually, then I'm not going to retain it as much as if I say it to myself in my mind or if I speak it out loud. That's just my mode. If I want to read something, if I want to remember a number, if I just look at it, I'm going to keep it for a little while. But if I say 7779311, then that's going to resonate in my mind because it's a sound. Now, why am I saying this to you? Because that's how you have been mostly programmed. Now, you've been programmed in all of them. And then let me tell you something. You've been programmed in ways that didn't necessarily have your best interest at heart, i.e. television. Oh, don't get me started. It's kind of my pet peeve, where you have literally been programmed what to think, how to feel in any given moment. Don't believe me? Let me share something with you. And you're gonna understand this right away. That television is, I'm not saying it's sinister, and it is designed with really just a couple of basic outcomes in mind. Number one, to keep you watching that screen. to keep you not turning that dial or pushing that button and going to another station. Why? Because that's how they make money. They make money by keeping you watching the screen. And then when a commercial comes on, those advertisers pay billions of dollars just so they can put their product in front of you at a very strategic and very specific way in a very specific time. And it's all a setup. Years ago, I was hired by a major television company. I can't tell you the name of it, but I was hired by them to assess what techniques and processes that other stations use to get the best results. In other words, to get people to keep watching that screen and to get people buying those products. And I discovered, if you will, there are 12 different markers and 12 different things that they do. Actually, there's more, but 12 major ones. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm going to tell you a couple of them just so you'll know. And then I'm going to talk to you about how you can reset your factory presets. And I want you to understand that this is all what I call neuro encoding. It's a way of programming yourself by understanding how you're already being programmed. Now, if you're a visual, auditory, or kinesthetic person, most of the time, you'll understand that the way that you learn the most might not be the way that you are all the time. And you're going to start to learn that you can cover all three of those areas. That way, it's kind of like, buckshot into a field of ducks. You're going to get one of them and you'll learn through it. And you're going to find out which one works for you. And so I'm going to give you two things that they do that you'll understand. One of them is called a cliffhanger. You've heard about that, whereas they go like, a reality show or one of the dance shows or something. They'll say, okay, everything has been come down to these 5 couples. And at the end of this session, one of these couples is going to go home. And they got to pack their bags and they got to go. Now, while they're saying that, there's music playing, auditory music playing. You're watching that and you're what? You're feeling anticipation. And then they drag it out. They go, okay, couple number 1, you are safe. And you go, oh God, I give you a couple number 1. Or you go, wow, couple number 1, I don't know, whatever. So anyway, they build you up, and then they go, they keep you on the clip, safe. And then they go couple number 2, same thing, couple number 3. And then they get down to the last 2. And here's where they set you up. Is they go, the couple that is going to be leaving tonight, the couple that is going to have to pack their bags and leave, and their journey with dancing with whatever, or doing whatever is over. Their dream of being on this is over. And it's just like I'm doing right now. They're dragging it out while they're playing music, dun, 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 or whatever, and it's making it build up. And what are you doing? You're feeling, and you're going, come on, come on, come on. That anticipation they want, because that anticipation means that your brain is open for suggestion. It's called a scotoma. You're no longer thinking about anything else. It's just this. And even though it might not be that important to your life right now, you're attached to it. And then they go, the person that is going to be staying is going to be dun, 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 dun. The person that has to go home tonight is going to be dun, 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 dun. And it doesn't mean that they're bad. It means that, everybody here has given their best effort, but you just have not been chosen. Is couple number... We're going to reveal it after this commercial break. And you know what I'm talking about. You've been there before. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you know that that's what they do. Well, there's a reason why they do that. Because in that moment, you don't get released. You go, and you still have that anxiety. And then what happens? Here comes the television commercial. And the commercial is set up the same way. Either to make you laugh or to make you curious or whatever, and they show you the product. And they show you the product, and when they do that, they're programming you to buy the product. Now, there's more to it, but I want you to understand that that's what's happening. And there's 12 of those different things. And so what I said is true. They're literally programming you to feel a certain way. It's why we are addicted to television. And television is just one of them. Let me give you one more. When you are watching television, and this is what I mean by they are programming you to feel a certain way, what to do, when to do it, and that kind of thing. I use this all the time when I teach my courses, and that is your favorite, and I want you to think about this, and you can try this experiment out, your favorite game show or your favorite sitcom, and they are not that funny. I'm just going to tell you, they're not that funny. They're amusing, but they're not that funny. Now, but what they do, and most of them, a lot of them are filmed in front of what's called a studio audience. That means they have a group of people that are there, and they're on the set, and the actors are acting out, and at the end, they get the response of the audience. Now, the audience, and I've been there, they literally tell the audience, when you see the applause sign, I want you to applause. When you see the laugh sign, I want you to laugh. That's one thing. But here's what they do it's called beats. And that is the writers write in such a way that it's set up, it's a pattern. It goes da 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 da, but da 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 da, ba da 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 da, and then there's a laugh. You don't believe me? Watch. Go watch your next show. Then it goes da 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 da, and it's almost like a rhythm that goes along. But here's the deal: you're not laughing. And the audience is being told what to laugh, and you may or may not know this, but there's a person in post-editing that has a button that's called canned laughter. And when they push that button, you hear the sound of laughter. Proof of it is, watch your next sitcom, comedy show or whatever, and notice how many times you laugh. Most of the time you won't. Most of the time you might go, you might be amused, but you never laugh out loud. Rarely. Certainly not like every single time one of those beats comes around, and certainly not like the audience is. But what you're being trained to do is to move in that pace. Okay, okay, and then you go to commercial. Now, why am I saying all this stuff? It's the same with you. If you want to reset yourself to your factory presets, number one, here's step number one, know what you want. What do you want? How do you want to feel? It's not say, I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to be frustrated. I don't want to be pessimistic. You know what you want. Because see, they don't go, when I say they, meaning the advertisers, and I use this as an example because this is how they have programmed you in so many other ways. This is just one way. Everything in your life, your cell phone, everything around you, your parents, your teachers and all that, they program you to believe things. Your peers, all of those things. So instead, let's just cut through the chase and go to what you want. Here's what I want you to know, and this is what you want, and this is your factory preset. Worthiness. Worthiness. Meaning that you deserve to feel good about yourself, about other people, about the world around. You deserve to have the best in life. Now, the truth of the matter is most people don't believe that. Most people have what's called imposter syndrome. They have self-doubt, uncertainty. I know I did for so long. And I'm not talking about arrogance, uncertainty, and love for yourself. I'm just talking about the true kind of love that a baby has. Those are your factory presets. You see, a baby never goes, am I worthy of getting food? They just go, you don't get it. Put a boob in my mouth. They go, I want this, I want that. And they've learned to step up and ask for it. Sometimes they cry about it, but they just do it because they believe that they're worthy of it. Why? Because it's the factory preset that they came into this world with. They came into this world knowing that they were loved. And proof of it is that you are still around. You were as well. Because if you weren't, you would have perished a long time ago. There's something called failure to thrive syndrome. And it was an experiment that was done years ago. And they found that kids that are not loved, kids that are not touched, kids that are not praised have the poorest health, and some of them even pass away. Oh, don't get me started. But somebody loved you enough to give you food, to respond to your needs, to change your diapers and things like that. And you in those moments just knew on a deeper level, on an unconscious level, that you deserved it, that you were worthy. And most people suffer from, let's just say, lack of that feeling in their days. They don't even think about it. And they go through life. And they think, well, I want to make more money. But then something inside says, you're not smart enough. You're not fast enough. You're not worth it. And that conversation, which is just a thought, it's an auditory thought inside of your head. And that auditory thought has played so many times it has become unconscious, because what happens to human beings, this is part of programming. Part of programming is just repetition. Whatever you say over and over and over again, you will believe. Whatever you do over and over again, you will get better at. You will improve. I call it human physics. Physics is the study of movement, the cause and effect of movement. Everything is moving. And so if you think a certain thing about yourself over and over again, then you're going to believe it. And if you believe it, then that's how you're going to feel. And that's how you feel. Then that's what you're going to do. And what you do is what you're going to get. Think, feel, do. But the thinking process always comes down to these two things and these two things only. Images that you make in your mind and words that you say in your mind. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. This is how you function as a human being. Images that you make inside your head and words that you speak. That's it. Let me repeat myself so that you can never say, I wonder why I do this. You do something because those are the images that you were making and the thoughts and the words that you were speaking in your head. That's a thinking process. Now watch this. Whatever you think is going to make you feel a certain way. I always go like this. It's going to make you feel a certain way because it goes right to your heart. You have a brain in your heart. Did you know that? And your brain goes, oh, this is how I should feel based on this thought that I'm having, those words and those images. And how you feel will determine what you do. It triggers. It's a cybernetic loop. Think, feel, do. Now, why do I say all of this? Because you get to choose how you're going to think, and how you're going to choose how you're going to think at this juncture. That's going to have a processional effect. Because I'm sure you're going to agree with me that if you believe that you are worthy, if you believe that you are worthy of love, affection, that you believe that you are worthy of wealthiness, health, and happiness, and financial abundance, how's that going to make you feel? You're going to feel great. You're going to feel good. And if you feel good, then you'll do good. And if you do good, then you'll have good. It is that simple. And so I got a really simple exercise for you that's going to cover all of the bases. And it's going to be processional. It's going to be global. And it's one of my favorite exercises that when I started doing this, it changed everything. And by the way, I am living proof. I am an example of what is possible. Because I was once suicidal in my life. I was homeless. I didn't have a place to live. I lived in a cardboard box. And think of where my self-esteem was. And so here's your exercise every morning for the next 10 days. And then you judge by results. I want you to wake up. And as soon as you wake up, you go in the mirror, you look yourself in the eyes. You look right in your eyes. And as you look yourself in the eyes, I want you to say these magic words. The first word is your name. Your name. I want you to say your name out loud. Second thing I want you to say is I. Third thing I want you to say is love. Fourth thing is you. That's it. Your name, I love you. With a smile on your face, and then pat yourself on the back and go about your day. That's it. As simple as it is. Now, based on everything I just told you with regard to the cliffhangers and with regard to, the programming and the repetition and things like that, what do you think is going to happen to you if you do this enough times? Because here's what's I'm going to tell you straight up front. The first time you do it, you're going to go, oh, this is silly. But as soon as you look yourself in the eyes, and when I say look yourself in the eyes, I mean look yourself into your eyes, not just look around your face. Look until you get that feeling. You know the feeling I'm talking about, where you're looking at your own beautiful, precious soul. Because when you do, you're going to kind of get a kinesthetic connection. It's energy. And you're going to say your name, and listen, your name makes your brain go, oh, it's me. And then you say, I love you. So what better way of that repetition of you telling you love you? That is telling you that you're worthy. So you don't need it from somebody else. 1,000 people can tell you you're great, you're awesome, and you won't believe it. But if you say it, then you will. You do this enough times, pretty soon that will become your default. And it'll allow your self-worth issues to raise up. It'll drop your uncertainty about yourself. It'll be unconscious. And you'll be utilizing what already works. You see what I'm saying? You see, I just did it, didn't I? You're utilizing your visual by seeing yourself. You're utilizing your auditory by saying it. You're utilizing your kinesthetic by looking at yourself. It's brilliant. It just works. So try this out. Utilize it for yourself. And then the best thing that you can do is teach it to other people. And other people will feel you as well. And you start to notice yourself, gosh, yeah, I do deserve this. Yeah. And you'll find yourself unconsciously doing things and feeling things that you didn't before. Unbelievable exercise. Utilize this exercise. And then always remember this, that your life, everybody's life, is exactly what we dare to make it. And fortune, whatever that means to you, fortune favors the bold. And so the trick to life is to boldly step up and dare to make your life magnificent. Use this. I'm honored to serve you, and I'll see you at the top.